Is Kelly Ripa prepared to leave her 27-year marriage to Mark Consuelos in order to compete as the inaugural Golden Bachelorette? See what she thought of the concept by reading on. Mark Consuelos and Kelly Ripa bring in an expert to preserve love. When Mark Consuelos joined the ABC soap opera All My Children in 1995 as Mateo Santos, Kelly Ripa first met him. Since 1990, she has been the Sudsers' Haley Vaughn. The actors who played Mateo and Haley fell in love with each other as well. The couple's 1996 covered elopement sparked a major scandal in the soap opera industry at the time. When Haley and Mateo left Pine Valley together in 2002, they both left All My Children. In 2010, the cast briefly returned to commemorate the 40th anniversary of the show. ABC dropped the program in 2011, then it was briefly brought back online in 2013. In 2020, Kelly Ripa and her husband hinted of a reboot, but they haven't released any information since. Following Ryan Seacrest's departure from Live with Kelly in 2023, Mark Consuelos co-hosted the show alongside his wife. The talk program recently included a piece on preserving love in one of its episodes. After a year of marriage, 86% of couples are happy, but after 7 years, that percentage drops to 50%, according to Dr. Gail Saltz. The relationship guru offered the following advice on how to maintain love in your marriage. Modify your argumentation style and put more of an emphasis on excitement put in the effort. Together, try something new or different. They must be doing something right because Kelly and Mark have so far outperformed the odds. So how did Kelly Ripa's nomination as the Golden Bachelorette get started? In order to become the Golden Bachelorette, will Kelly Ripa divorce her husband? In September 2023, ABC debuted its first senior dating program. The first Golden Bachelor was Jerry Turner. Theresa Nist, 70, and the 72-year-old retiree fell in love. In January, the Golden couple tied the knot in a televised event. Finally, the network acknowledged that a female-led version is being developed. This fall, the Golden Bachelorette will debut, but it's still unclear who will win the coveted position. Susan Lucci, Kelly Ripa's former co-star, is being considered by some soap opera fans to be the first Golden Bachelorette. Or it might be a contestant who was turned down by Jerry Turner. On a recent episode of Live with Kelly and Mark Consuelos put his wife's name in the hat. The married couple was debating whether to date or remain alone in the event of the other's death. Kelly Ripa stated that she will never date again, according to the U.S. Sun. When the audience applauded her response, she explained why. "I'm simply too particular," she remarked. Then, in jest, her husband put her forward for the senior dating show. He joked, "On this season's The Golden Bachelorette." His wife put an end to such notion right away. Kelly remarked, "That would be the fastest series ABC ever had." She continued by joking that if the men didn't live up to her high expectations, she would send limo after limo away. Following Kelly Ripa's untimely death, Mark Consuelos intends to remain alone for a year. "I would act like any respectable man would," he remarked. "I would go to church and meet a nice lady at church." Do you have a strategy in place for handling the death of your spouse? Tell us in the comments section. Kelly Ripa, morning show queen, mom of 3, irrepressible presence, has long exemplified a marriage that seems equal parts love, partnership, and performance. She and Mark Consuelos have been married for nearly 3 decades, having met on the set of All My Children. Their marriage is woven into their public identities. Co-hosts, longtime couple, comedic foil to each other. So the idea of Kelly walking away to star on a reality show called The Golden Bachelorette, severing marital ties for romance, cameras, and television drama, feels like the territory of wild speculation or satirical fantasy rather than reality. But let us dive into that fantasy, tease out the motivations, the obstacles, the emotional battlegrounds, and ultimately answer whether that scenario holds water. Every celebrity, and many ordinary people, harbors a yearning for reinvention. For Kelly, whose daily life is in the glare of thousands of cameras, the idea of reintroducing herself publicly as a romantic lead rather than a seasoned co-host might carry intoxicating appeal. The Golden Bachelorette, a spin on the familiar Bachelorette format, but with older contestants, might promise her a narrative arc she's never had. The single woman navigating heartbreak, hope, and televised suitors. It's not merely a reality show, it's a flashy, dramatic reassertion of identity. Beyond career novelty, there could be internal tensions. After decades of marriage, the routines may feel constrictive, the known path too familiar. Even a person who loves deeply might wonder, what if I rewrote the story? Could a different chapter beckon? That's the seed of possibility. But temptation doesn't guarantee a turn. The reality check. Why it seems unlikely one. Deep committed ties. Kelly and Mark's long history is no shallow fling. Over 25 years together, raising children, surviving the public gaze, working side by side. That's a partnership of habit, shared experience, mutual knowledge, and emotional interdependence. While marriage isn't a guarantee against dissolution, breaking such a bond for a televised romance competition would require far more than wanderlust. The stakes are immense: personal, familial, reputational. Indeed, in a recent Live with Kelly and Mark episode, Kelly himself joked, in a hypothetical, let's just say you were to leave me, and then quipped that dating would be 100% out of the question. She spoke of there being too much to explain. Her tone was humorous, but it underscores how messy such a divorce would be. Emotionally, logistically, publicly. 2. Public persona and reputation. Kelly's brand is not scandalous. It is confidence, warmth, comedic self-awareness. To pivot to star in a show premised on romantic competition would risk diluting her brand, inviting tabloid narratives, cheating, conflict, heartbreak that she has mostly avoided. If her audience perceives she left her husband for television drama, that could feel cheap or disingenuous. The optics could easily backfire. 3. Practical barriers and real costs. To do The Golden Bachelorette would require time, filming schedules, contractual obligations, travel, emotional vulnerability. It would demand that Kelly become single, legally, and in how she presents herself, long before cameras roll. There would be press scrutiny, tabloid gossip, and invasive speculation. And she'd risk her existing life, the certainty of family, stability, a known path, in favor of the uncertainty of reality TV romance, which rarely ends in a lasting partnership. Furthermore, her co-hosting duties, commitments, contracts, media obligations would conflict with such a pivot unless she is ready to step back from her existing career. That's a huge sacrifice. The emotional battleground. What it might cost and what it could offer. If Kelly ever entertained this leap inwardly, she would navigate weighty emotional terrain, guilt and responsibility. Leaving a spouse, especially one you publicly cherish, creates guilt, to children, to family, to shared memories. She would ask, am I selfish? Am I breaking vows not just to Mark but to the life we built? Fear of failure. If Golden Bachelorette doesn't lead to true love, she may return wounded, criticized, or worse, derided as naive or foolish. Identity conflict. Kelly's identity is entangled with being a partner, a mother, a public figure. Is there a self inside her that yearns to exist outside all those labels? If so, this show might serve as a vehicle for discovering that self. But it's a gamble. Renewal and liberation. At the other end, the fantasy suggests a rebirth. She could reclaim her romantic narrative, test her desires, challenge social norms. Bachelorettes are typically younger women and potentially emerge more self-aware, courageous, resilient. If she walked away in fiction and starred in Golden Bachelorette, she'd face the tension between public spectacle and private emotional truth. The show's format, with roses, dates, eliminations, is engineered drama. Her real heart would have to survive the artificiality. A dramatic sketch, fictional scene. Interior: a sunlit loft in New York. Kelly sits at a kitchen island, coffee untouched. Mark enters, cautious. Kelly quietly, "Mark, I've been thinking. What if I do Golden Bachelorette?" Mark, smiling, hopeful. "Ha, very funny. Are you serious?" Kelly holds his gaze. "Yes, not as a joke. I feel stuck. And maybe I need to rediscover myself." Outside us, a silence. The weight of decades hangs between them. Mark, softly, "But what about us? Our life? The kids?" Kelly, "I don't know. Maybe this is selfish, but maybe it's necessary, and maybe you won't understand." The camera would linger on their faces. Regret, longing, fear. It's not a dramatic punchline. It's heartbreak in waiting. And whether she walks out or stays, both will be changed. So, will she leave him? My speculative conclusion. In the real world, I judge the probability extremely low. Kelly Ripa is unlikely to leave Mark Consuelos to star in The Golden Bachelorette. Their bond, the risks, and the costs heavily outweigh the speculative rewards. It would require a rupture so dramatic, so radical. It would transform her public image in unpredictable ways. She's built a career and a life too carefully to risk it on a televised romantic reboot, especially when she and Mark consistently reference their long marriage with affection, humor, and resilience. However, and this is the caveat, in the domain of celebrity fantasy and tabloid speculation, anything is possible. We have precedent for public figures doing unexpected pivots, divorces, reality TV gambits. If Kelly ever felt emotionally compelled, or if her career evolved in a way that made her view Golden Bachelorette as not a betrayal but an expansion, we might glimpse her stepping toward a version of this scenario, though not necessarily leaving Mark overnight. Perhaps she'd spin it as a separation, a personal sabbatical, a journey rather than a meltdown. In short, the scenario is dramatic, compelling, fertile fodder for speculation. But in reality, I would bet on her staying. She may flirt with the idea in interviews or jokes, and may even entertain hypothetical what-ifs, as she already has on Live, but the leap into real divorce for a reality show seems far more fantasy than forecast.